David, Lord, to watch the catch of the blood. I'm not going to go to the amount of the hallelujah. He's got his scalash, may now go to the young, but was up in the country, got his mission. A year, made no half of the show. I got it, no, Ești mereu mai spun că și-am un serviciu în misa fix, să mi s-a luat să vă știu că și vrem că fac și rața, fac na voz de mine, am avem eu am. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech v'shinonei Avraham, Eloheinu v'yei kevod atah, Akiva v'anira, Eloheinu k'malchus v'tev v'kakos v'chas maybe get a little much around the face, there's among you, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, I have to give it up to the money, no Chavis Mother of Shia, Better Mokan, Chaim, not Chavis, and Ravim, Civic, maybe very big head of Matter, sir. We can't remember us to change our favorite, the base of our race, or we never up with maybe the Chaim of my church, show them out of the Adonai, Chayam is Bishop, Minar, is of the young sisters, we get the chance of the shop. Because the young because of the Yaman, Scottish, words, but still, most of the because of women, in with high tea, David and Alpha, because it's Station for you, so I'm calling other things on that. My name is Focus on Vino, that's from Sunday night. Saying I should say something, and then I'll kill myself after the show, showing up on Sunday night. Related to the show, stuff on the minute, kill the sound about Sunday night. Kind of, I might say, hey, I'm on you, much about Sunday night. So, I don't know if we should want to kill my people, and I'm not going to Haley, I'm this girl. But if they are the only option of this coming from they've seen, Love them, they're done with something which love them, killed him with the other option of 39. We got 10 years around the cinema 39. Child, they still say I'm his role. But she was still version, he had 10 parts of the law, sitting in your man. وملك غير واضح للأخبار وكانت علاقة بالتنمية ومشبه بطني ناي إيه مشبه عشان الصفة وخوزين كيجلد خيار خميس كيزو وما هو شيء من الساكن وشاو سواجين تقويم من بطني ناي كيف من ربنا جيد أعطيه ناس في سرعة بتقابل أسفل فأجي تقبلين يمنا رقم هذا الدليل Pensei já que dá uma vez para chamar a se vaquina no Eles que vão botar no tal né. Já me estava dizendo. Chamei para lá no caso. Esqueci de gastar já então. Rezi da água também se botar. Eu nem é só botar bem no botar né. Bem isso lá. Da também está sendo botar né. Então eu já só quis gostar de não cair no tal né. Assim é que isso aber Rach im Leben gab Rach im Rotten assassino. Chi ho scemesso salvato una civica chi ha scemesso stava parlando di noi. E me ya te ho detto che sono il socio di Sivasha vedo i soldi sono il socio ma scavarosin. Io li ho sentito la insomma cosa no e nei non so che ya mi ho parlato di noi. Ma si sta così e vedo ma so خيين ما في أنا ليه غلطان صراحة نوصل لكم لأن شو يصير في الوقت ما سوي شو غير مرة أنا كويس أقول لك بدو شو غير أي سبب يصير لطيف كي خل رقمها عملاق بالقناة كي ما يرضى كي نلعب كويس بيصير يسافي شيء كمان كي أنت الله عين دوسا يحاول يشوفه أقول كتير أجل سنة Baruch atah Adonai, at Shem Chofan Leidis. Kim Shom to drop a kind of thing that's the last one of the machine many for Gab and a half. Keep him on the little Sami of the top of Ram and kind of the Baruch Town is some place to push on strong of Adonai. The Baruch Town is so it's got this guy straight up. We're gonna go to ship it. I go over to my car and no man. Shall we say Sunday? The day service of law should put it local. They don't go because she also discussed now what's the name of no man. It's conversation with the Bobby's rock on the Schmeier no man. It hates someone on Schmeier. The kind of thing we know, okay, so no man. It's someone we have some market
Today in Jewish history. Today in Jewish history, tonight, the 11th of Sivan, is, so 2 days ago was my father's anniversary. 26 years, right? 26 anniversary, 26 years, I think. Yoda, yeah? Your parents' anniversary is 26 years? Huh? 26 years. And, huh? And tonight is the Rebbe's wedding anniversary. I mean, sorry, not the Rebbe's parents' anniversary. Rebbe's parents got married in 1900, 123 years ago. Tonight is the yard site of the Mincha Yitzchak. Mincha Yitzchak, the Yitzchak Yaakov Weiss. The name of the sefer is Mincha Yitzchak. That's why he's known as Mincha Yitzchak. With great miracles, he survived the war. And after the war, he was brought to England to be on the Bezdin over there. And then they brought him to Yerushalayim to be the head of the Bezdin over there. And there he was from 1979. He became Av Bezdin of Yerushalayim Eidah Charedit, Yerushalayim, until his passing. He was the head of the Beit there. What he's most known for, besides for his halachic responsa, what he's most known for is his loopholes that he figured out specifically. He was good at loopholes in general. That's what a dayan is meant for. That's the value of a dayan, a judge in a Jewish court, is to figure out loopholes for people to try to find. To be strict that's no big deal. Everybody can be strict, but to try to find a way when needed. So an example, so his big thing was for agunos. Aguna is someone who's is a woman whose husband we don't know where he is, disappeared. So it's a terrible situation to be in. Where, huh? And anytime a woman doesn't know her husband is, she's considered aguna. An aguna is she's not divorced, she doesn't have a get. Her husband didn't pass away. She can't get remarried. She's stuck. She's in limbo. Now, obviously, that happens when you have always some guy who's a jerk, who doesn't want to give his, who's divorced, doesn't want to give his wife a get, and then they have all different things they do to try to convince the husband to give a get. But that you just talk that. What are you talking about? A jerk. We're not talking about such cases. The cases where the loopholes are cases, let's say after the war, where families were split up. A husband went to Auschwitz, the wife went to Bergen-Belsen. They don't know, were they gassed? Were they shot? Are they still alive somewhere? Are they in a DP camp? So, or more recently, someone went to work one day. He usually worked in Twin Towers. We know a plane hit the Twin Towers. We don't know if he was in. We don't know for sure if this person was inside the building or not. Simple halacha tells us that this woman will never get remarried. Takes a genius like that to figure out all different types of loopholes. I mean, just an example where we just worked on a case recently. Someone came to us to do a wedding. The office over here. Traditionally, we fill out a form. It's fill out a form. By that's the form we give to the Beit Din. Goes on file. And they filled out over there, truthfully, rightfully. One of the questions asked there is, were you ever previously married? Her answer was yes, she was previously married. She said it was a very short time. The mother of the groom. Well, that opened a can of worms because she never had a proper divorce from her first husband. That makes the child a mamzer. If you go on plain, straight halacha, that means that's what a mamzer is. So I don't just leave it at that. I don't say, okay, you're up the creek, lady. Your kids will never get married. We work very, very hard. We contacted every big bezdin that there could be who could deal with something like this. And one led to the next, to the next, to the next. You know, of course, my first phone called Rabbi Shapiro, what do we do? Rajua says, this is John Malik, call either this person or that person. And we called the next person, and the person said, okay, let's call this. And there's a lot of different types of loopholes where you could find. And it took us 6 months or 9 months of research and hard work, and the wedding being pushed off and pushed off and pushed off till it was figured out. Well, a simple loophole, which we figured out a way where it could be the child's not a mamzer, and you could do the wedding.
Not the one hanging on the wall.
So, just an example of a loophole which we try to find out. In order for someone to need a get, they had to have a kosher wedding. In order for the wedding to be kosher, you had to have 2 kosher witnesses at the wedding. Everything had to be done according to halacha. Now the question is, was the original wedding done according to halacha? So we had to go backtrack 30 whatever years, track people down, and we came to several a lot of roadblocks, and we had to, okay, now let's try a different route. And a guy like the Mincha Maariv passed away already, but modern people like it, but in their own league, who will find every Gemara, everything where you could find something. So let's say we had to track down the witnesses. Can you imagine tracking down witnesses so many years ago? I tracked down, Shul was that, the rabbi, we tracked it all down. There's language barriers. We're talking about South America and getting numbers, and it's a whole huge investigation. But
All right, next time come out. 3 months.
yeah, a lot of times you get information. It's not information you want to hear. So, for example, the guy swore to me that he's Shomer Shabbos. That's great, but that doesn't help our cause right now, right? Because the kosher witness did. Anyway, so what he was known for is cracking codes, figuring out how to get an aguna, someone whose husband disappeared, to be able to remarry. That was his. Tonight's his yard. We're learning. We have another 4 minutes of learning. We're learning about Shema, and last night we discussed how we have to be careful between each word, because with every syllable in the Shema, where it says in general when we daven, it says our words are creating malachim, they're creating angels, creating Levi's books, and not always good ones. Depends how we pronounce them, but that's in general davening. By the Shema, there's something specific by the Shema. By the Shema is the only part of the davening where it's clear, min Torah, it's a Torah, it's midaraita, it's a Torah mandate to say the Shema every day. And so, in addition to it being a Torah mandate, there's tremendous powers behind the Shema, and there's things like we know the Shema is on the mezuzah, right? They're in the mezuzah, and it's filling the Shema. How many hundreds of thousands of stories we all hear about a problem in the writing of the Shema, of the mezuzah, and because of that, who knows what kind of medical problems and all different types of problems are a result of that. Why? It's code. Today we can understand. 50 years ago we didn't understand this. Today we understand code. AI. Everything is code. And Hashem wrote the world. It's clear. We know it's this code. Hashem coded. That's coding. That's how he created the world, right? That's how he creates the world every single second through coding. And that's why someone who's a great tzaddik and understands coding very well, someone that studies Torah, that's what actually someone ever answered someone. They ever answered someone. Someone once asked the Rebbe, there was a group of students at the Rebbe, and they asked the Rebbe, Rabbi, is it true you can do miracles? What's the Rebbe supposed to answer? Rebbe answered, classic Rebbe. Rebbe answered, the way Hashem created the world, he made a user manual for the world. He wrote a user manual for the world. The user manual is the Torah. Anyone who studies the Torah well enough, like a computer, you study the manual good enough, you could tweak it, you could fix it, there's coding needs, you could work things around. I said anybody can do miracles. What do you mean miracle? It means you know how to work the wires, you know how to reconnect when each could. That's all it is. So it's a matter of. So when it comes to the world coding of the world, so there's a lot of code in the Shema. It's very powerful, and that's why we have to be very extra super careful with the way we pronounce every single word. So now, the best language to say Shema in is, of course, the language is written in Hebrew. Nevertheless, a person could fulfill the mitzvah of saying Shema in any language. Huh? It's less. Well, you're missing all the code. It's lost in translation, right? The code is lost in translation. But it's still, according to halacha, halacha is halacha. It's allowed. You fulfill the mitzvah of saying Shema if you do it in English or Spanish, any language you want. Now, before saying Shema, we're supposed to say Shema with clean hands. In other words, we wake up in the morning, we can't just wake up in bed, my Donnie, Shema Yisrael. No, not so fast. My Donnie you could do. Shema Yisrael, you got to wash your hands first. And your mouth if it's not a fast day. You have to wash your hands first. You have to wash your mouth. Otherwise, it's not respect. You don't have to wash your mouth, but it's not respect. Shulchan Aruch said you should wash your mouth before. But the hands you have to wash. Even if it's a fast day. Even if you're only washing half your hands. Well, let's say it's Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, you can only wash your hands still on knuckles. But still, we have to wash our hands before Shema. Therefore, we don't do it straight from waking up, straight in bed. We have to wash our hands first, and then we do the Shema. Also, before saying the Shema, it's a bit of the Torah. Exactly. You can't say, just like you can't eat a cookie, but you can't eat ice cream before making a bracha. We're asking Hashem permission first. Same thing, you can't say Shema like a cookie, like ice cream, I guess. You can't say Shema before saying the birkat, the Torah, the blessing we do, the same blessing we do before an aliyah. That bracha, now if you're doing the morning blessings in the order of the Siddur from page 5, then it's in there. You just follow, that's called Siddur, it's order. Everything's organized for us. We don't have to break our head, everything's organized for us. Now, the order of the Shema, the way it is printed in the Siddur order, right? We'd have to do it in that order. We can't break up the order. We can't do it in a different order. We can't do V'ahavta first and then Shema. Can't do it that way. You got to do it in order. Not like other parts of davening where you catch up to the Chazan if you want. You catch up to the Chazan and then go back to make up what you missed. Shema has to be in order. Shema, Baruch Shem, V'ahavta, V'haya, V'yomer. It goes in that order. Similar to the way, talking about coding, similar to the way it is in the mezuzah. It's in order in the mezuzah. In the mezuzah, if you write it out of order, it's not kosher. In the tefillin, if you write it out of order, it's not kosher. You'll never know how it was written unless it's trust, complete trust. You'll never know in the order which way it was written. You'll never know. How are you supposed to know? It's complete trust. You'll never know if they went to mikvah or not. Complete trust. And that's why you can't just buy a pair of tefillin or mezuzahs from the shuk, from the marketplace, like so many people do all the time. Never forget about the fact that it can be written completely wrong, and we find it all the time. People bringing mezuzahs to check all the time, and there's mistakes all the time. Forget about that. That's clear. That the eye could see. We're talking about what the eye doesn't see. Written beautiful, and you never know if it was written in order or not. Tefillin has to be written in order. Mezuzah has to be in order. Well, the guy written all the names. He went to the mikvah. All the names of Hashem. He meant well. He meant well. Huh? What? Who? Who passed away? Who passed away? Biggest tzaddik. I talk to you to keep up everybody's rank. Bashir Panovich. Okay, what about him? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear. Did he say something to tefillin? The Rosh Yeshiva, one of the Rosh Yeshivas before him, Gershon Elstein. One of the Rosh Yeshivas before him, Panovich, had non-kosher tefillin. He was wearing for years non-kosher tefillin until the Rebbe sent a message. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a true story. First of all, a lot of people in the literature world, unfortunately, a lot of people don't check their tefillin very often. You know, it's a lot of Shulchan Aruch. It's a fact, they don't. Unfortunately. But a true story, my brother right under me, got his tefillin. He would check his tefillin every year. He checked his tefillin. One day he checks it by a new suffer. He's 19 years old. It's missing a letter. What? No one caught on to that? Oh, you had the same problem. Huh? I'm not going to the same problem. I had the same problem. And we're human. We're human. That's why the importance of having computer check also. You have to have human check. Yeah. But I think
Although, according to halacha, you have to have a human check. I think it's equally important today to have a computer check. It's available, exactly. Okay, fine, you have to have a computer check as well. But you have to have a computer check because the computer checks these things and it catches these things. You want to say it was a miracle, it disappeared? Could be. I don't know. Possible. Possible. The fact is that it was missing. The Rosh Yeshiva of Panovich, he had his tefillin. He was already an older man. I'm not saying it wasn't tzaddik, wasn't tzaddik. I'm just saying talking. I'm just making. He was a big Greek Torah scholar. He's a big Torah scholar. Big Talmud Chacham. But I'm just saying that make a connection between. You said he has. No, I'm saying is you mentioned Rosh Yeshiva and we're talking about Shema Yisrael.
How often you're supposed to check?
According to Shulchan Aruch, we have to check a minimum of twice in 7 years. Unless something happened, something wrong, as it fell, then you check more often. If something's going wrong in our life, we should check. But otherwise, twice in 7 years. Twice in 7 years. Every 3 or 4 years, 2 or 5 years. Whatever. That's 2 and 7 years. That's a show, not Shoshana, I'm saying. Huh? I don't know what it said. Shoshana. The Shomer Shabbat Aliyah. So he passed away today, he said.
Yeah, 100 years old.
100 years old. Come, let's not marry. Let's not marry. Chaz v'shalom. Chaz v'shalom. Chaz v'shalom. Chaz v'shalom. We shouldn't speak bad about anybody. Shouldn't speak bad about anybody. Come, Meyer, page 118. That's the Meyer, 118. What's that Meyer? Page 118, go down. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai Eloheinu, b'chol levav, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol miyodecha, v'hayu admonim eila asher lekim tzavcha hayom al levavecha, v'shimata levanecha, v'yibartecha, v'chol mitzvah, v'chol adar, v'shal v'chol v'chamecha, v'shal v'yisa yedecha, v'yod v'yis v'yinecha, v'chol ma'aseh v'yiseh v'yisherecha. Amen.
Adina, Yelechanemes, Anat Nisrael, Anashinu Bakayim, Avivana. Umachus, Evirati Kibulale, and Maisha, and Israel, Hanushi, Sim Haraba, Yakula, Nipamet, we don't know. Naira see, like I see, information. Zay, the other one, but it's Akogalo and Kazak Mime, and Baragata Adinai, Baal Israel. Ushmart, they say, no, we don't have to Shami after the love, Shami not in other. Shaman is Amo Yisrael, Yom the referencing on the Yashma, Kari, she take God, I got you from me. H made up on the Lord, all of me, my son. So it's very similar, it's not say, he's a daughter of his laws, when the Kuchabito, Elo, I got to be cheated out of that, and most of the middle of me. Kada means Kada Shmi Rabba. We only reference Yam and Focus of the Atma Brokan and Courage. She is the high love is Israel Bagala. Of his Mankari, the Ruame. Shmi Rabba. Is not say. He's a dark and love is also which are brief. Later, we have the Shiraz, and the Pastor Naminamama, Bibrame. His Gabot place was the Bavis Israel, come over in Ishmael, Bibrame. Eshamarao, Ishmael, and Five Molino Akaisa, Bibrame. As a Shamrim, but we have the Shamlino Akaisa, Bibrame. Let's go, or just for some. Yeah, okay, go about the really has made them. Very good. ונאמר וידענו למלאך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה ונראה אחד ושמע אחד. אמן. 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 ישמיע אמן. 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 שהיה לשיים כיסאווי, תווי תווי סופר, דברי דברי אימנו נער, אני לא. הצבע אני אספר, אני עשיתי, ואני אסר, ואני סוג ים הרי. הצדיק נשמע, וישושן אספניך, כתבוס מתאם פישר, כזה שגם נשמע כאן במבדלים. חייב שתפידך ויצמן ודברכן כישיס בכל מים ירא וטבע ומחת שינוסונו מעצם הלאה ומה ילך ומי ומים כיוון שעולה להגתו כשמר ועתה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזעק יסוס ישראל לפיך אחר ולנתן למצוא שני המדען הרב זמן צדקאי והגדול תראי לו ויגדר אמן אמן
Mincha Maariv Bishmaya Imru Amen.
Amen.
Mincha Maariv Chaim Tovim Aleinu Velkol Israel Imru Amen.
Amen.
Yosef Shalom Imru Mavu Yosef Shalom Aleinu Velkol Israel Imru Amen.
Amen.
40. Make it. We shouldn't take less time at anybody. You know? Yeah, I just listened to Sunday I listened to a podcast. Sunday I listened to a podcast with